The conservers we've been discussing, like they said, those, example of those are just the different intermittent oxygen use. And any more questions about those?
Question.
Okay.
When you talk about pulse, are you talking about that the regulator just gives you a shot?
Exactly.
Regular moment?
Right.
What about like a scuba? You know, where when I breathe in, I get a breath out of the tank, and I'm not getting, unless I breathe, I don't get any.
There's some shared technology there. Yeah. Our ratio is about 1 to 3, inhaling, 1, 3, exhaling. And so you can plan on at least 3 times duration from a tank if you meter that. But rather than wasting that during that expiratory part of that ratio.
And there are some newer hybrids, or some newer conservers that will deliver a pulse that is not a short pulse, but based on the perceived breath, where it will deliver an actual larger dose than for some people than others because of lung capacity or breathing patterns or whatever. So there are some great ones out there.
Yeah,
But
the
those
technology's
are
come a long way.
only.
Yeah. We talked about some conserving ratios here, the 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 5 to 1, and 6 to 1. This gentleman over here had the smart dose. The Chad are one of the better conserving ratios. You'll get a 5 to 1 out of a Chad.
So explain the ratio. I think of some people, does that mean two breaths to one? Right?
That would mean if you were using a continuous flow, a cylinder might last 5 hours, and with intermittent flow, it would last 15 hours if you had a 3 to 1.
Okay.
So we're talking about the duration of usage in a cylinder.
That's what the ratio
Savings.
refers to.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a savings ratio, not a breath ratio.
Right.
And so this was the one where the conservers, how the duration would differ from just a continuous flow.
Yeah, really jumps. I mean, if you were on 2 liters on this with a regulator, it lasts, what, Mark?
I don't know.
I mean, maybe an hour, maybe 45 minutes, but then you put a conserver to it,
Probably not an hour.
and it just jumps. 45 minutes, and then you get quite a bit more time out of your tank.
So how does the CAD differ from the smart pulse? Other than that?
It doesn't titrate. It doesn't go up.
The amount it delivers, you've got to compromise something. If you get a longer duration of usage from a cylinder than from one manufacturer to another, they're changing the way they deliver.
At 2 liters per minute, it's going to deliver 2 liters per minute.
Right, flat.
And you're telling me that this, even though I set it on 2 liters,
It's going to go up a little.
it will go up a little?
Depending on your breath rate.
Yeah.
It's a cool device. You've got the best out there. It's just not the most efficient. You could,
Well, I can actually, I use M6s and M9s both. I get generally 2 hours out of an M6 and about 4 out of an
yeah.
Okay, we talked about the whole field systems that allow you to fill your own cylinders. They require the cylinders that the special one, like you said, you can't use anyone. And it's expensive, but saves the provider from making trips. And fills slowly, so it's practical for high flow users or those using portables many hours a day.
That's a good point. You may spend more time trying to fill your tanks if
you needed to take multiple cylinders with you for an outing, you'd have to spend, this takes about an hour to fill, hour and a half, about right?
the smallest one. And then it's going to go on up to the bigger ones. It's going to take quite a while.
Well, the biggest tank, it doesn't want to fill the last little bit. It can crank forever.
That's true. It won't get them quite full.
Yeah.
It's not really able to. So
you just take what you can get and go.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That picture she had up there, we have those. They're called home fills by Invacare. Those are nice, a little smaller, but it relies on your concentrator. It taps into your concentrator to get your oxygen. This is a right. This is a standalone unit. It does. You can have your liter flow on 5 liters on your concentrator, and it won't affect how fast your tanks fill. That's kind of a nice thing about these type units. Here's the liquid reservoirs we were talking about earlier. Quite large, kind of a garbage can deal, but the portables are small that you can fill off of them.
Don't quote us garbage can, that was really...
Right, again, just cover your liquid reservoirs, you can fill oxygen and you fill the liquid portables. And anything